ever had a dream, Neo, that you were so sure was real? What if you were unable to wake from that dream? How would you know the difference between the dream world and the real world?
What if finance, luxury, and the fire dream are just illusions, designed just to keep you and me in trap? And why do people actually buy Ferraris even when they are drowning in debt? And what if chasing status is indeed the very matrix in disguise? What if the psychology of money is the very red pill that we need to break free? And what if FIRE was never about retiring early, but that movement is actually about escaping the system of validation, constant validation?
What is happening to me?
The answer is out there, Neo. It's the question that drives us.
What is the Matrix?
The Matrix is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth.
Today, I'm just going to share with you 3 stories that hopefully will reveal the psychology of money and how this system has been designed to give us the illusion of choice, but rather we are trapped in a financial matrix. Let me introduce you the Ferrari Syndrome, which is about the fact that people think that if you get that Ferrari or that Bentley, Lamborghini, Porsche, whatever it is, people will start to respect you and people will start admiring you, saying, wow, look at that person. He should be special or she should be unique. However, the truth is that when people notice such occasions, they notice the car, not the driver behind that, right? Well, honestly, sometimes when I see such cars, I do check the driver as well, but initially and mostly, even regarding myself, it's my attention going toward the car itself. I don't care about the driver. I might start imagining, oh, how cool it would be if I could have that car. How cool and fun and joyful it would be for me to be able to have and own such a car. Story number 1, Morgan Housel in the very first chapters just mentioned that when he was young and he used to live in Los Angeles, where he used to go for college, he used to work as a valet, right? Those people who are in restaurants or whatever, they take the cars and park them. And at that young age, he was naturally drawn to all of these fancy cars, the red Ferrari or whatever it is, right? And he thought, okay, these are the people who have made it, right? These are the truly rich people. Funny enough, he mentions one of the drivers that he could remember clearly. He saw that very same guy 2 weeks later in a sort of a very broken car. Out of complete surprise, when he got the opportunity, he asked him, I do remember that you were driving that blue Lamborghini. What happened to your car? And he admits that was just a rental car. And indeed, I'm broke and in debt. That was sort of an aha moment that he realized that he's confusing the image with the true wealth. So the lesson here is that the car doesn't prove wealth. It actually masks something deeper. It most probably masks our insecurities. That might be easy to say, but what about the people who need those status? For example, that same very book and some other books also mention that some jobs and some professions might naturally and over the time have been associated with the status. For example, a lawyer, right? A lawyer probably, most probably, and not necessarily, might need to dress up or wear very fancy and luxurious watches or driving fancy cars or same thing might be said about doctors, to communicate the message that I am a trustworthy one, I'm successful. Of course, there might be such pressures, and society will always keep us in pressure, but this is the very treatment that we need. It's about awareness. It's the awareness that lets you choose when to comply and when to resist. So you're making decisions in your own terms and not what the society or the matrix has designed for us, right? Seek respect through character and not just mere consumption. Here's the second story. Once upon a time, there was this guy who immigrated from Germany, and he had not much of education or skill in the US, and he just started very gradually and very quietly, and the key here is quietly, to start buying paintings of Picasso. Now you might say, okay, how he managed to buy Picasso's work, right? But the fact is that now we know about the genius and masterpieces of Picasso. At that time, he was just a very ordinary artist, right? But he listened inwardly, and he started to invest quietly and gradually and consistently, and he was able to amass a fortune. By the way, if you're interested in that topic, I've already made a video you can find in my channel that talks about how Picasso was actually a gambler, not a genius. And here people also might refute this by saying that, oh, okay, you're using very rare examples. The vast majority of people cannot invest in Picasso paintings, right? Well, that's sort of true, but I want to underpin the very principle that is at work here, and that's very universal. The fact that you can find a symmetry in your domain. You don't need art, you just need opportunities where the downside is limited and the upside is big, much bigger. Story number 3, and this is also about Housel's own confession and the FIRE movement and reflections on that FIRE movement. A recent interview in which, by the way, there was a very interesting fact, the fact that if your neighbor wins the lottery overnight, the chances that you are going to get broke is gonna increase. And that might be sort of very unexpected and funny, and you might wonder why. I mean, what does that have to do with me? The fact is that if your neighbor, the very same person that you see it always and all the time, becomes super wealthy super immediately, you'll say, I want that for me too. I want to send my kids to that special education, to that fancy university. I want to have that same luxurious cars, and that will lead you to make reckless financial decisions instead of rational or even just reasonable financial decisions. And that's very interesting, and I think the lesson there is that we should be all careful with whom we are associating and with whom we are spending time, because we are gonna naturally anchor toward them. So the young Housel was confessing in that interview that when he was young, he didn't know how to love, he didn't know how to present and express his wisdom, so he thought materials are the ticket to win others' admiration and respect. But over time, he just realized that the money is a tool, not the identity. And he cautions retiring early also can lead to meaninglessness. So FIRE stands for financial independence, retire early. The financial independence part is brilliant. I 100% agree with that part. But the retire early part, you should, there is certain caveats around that, right? So you always need meaning and identity. So it's not basically about retiring early. It's actually what the book Psychology of Money teaches us, that true wealth is being able to wake up in the morning and to say, today I can do whatever I want and at whatever time I want and with whomever I want. Choice. That's what Morgan Housel highlights. This is how the matrix of money is coded.
Get me the hell out of here!
Welcome to the real world.
Marketing, peer pressure, social media, and all of these consumer cycles. And this very book, Psychology of Money, helps us to decode, to recognize the illusions, right? The Ferrari Syndrome, and the fact that we need to value and embrace silence. And that would be a buffer against all of this pressure. And also prioritizing time and reminding us that that's a super valuable, invaluable asset that we all have. And that's how this book presents the very red pill to the Neo that you are. So awareness leads to restraint, and that leads to genius, freedom, and authentic freedom. The Matrix wasn't built to control your body, but your beliefs. Contrary to the movie, it's not that we are living in a digital matrix, even though that was a great idea at the time for the movie, but it's rather about our beliefs and how we have been designed to believe whatever the society presents. You now have the choice. You can choose to stay plugged in or step into clarity. It's up to you. Which illusion will you drop first? The Ferrari, the fire deal, or the identity tied to wealth? Thank you very much. And by the way, if you enjoyed this video, I would love you to subscribe to the channel. Thanks again. See you in the next video.
Unfortunately, no one can be told what the Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself.